social, we're still growing.
Yeah, I'm
All
still
right,
growing into the
let's
show.
get ready. Stretch here. All right. Okay, let's get started. So, hi everyone. You guys ready before we get started?
Mhm.
All right, so far we have Deborah and Connie. Hello, welcome. We are recording this and I want to welcome everybody. My name is Denise and Bessie, CEO and founder of Muscle Mix Music, and we provide fit pros with music for both in-person and virtual classes. Welcome to Matcha Tea Time. Matcha is my favorite tea. And,
Mhm.
when the gyms were closed during the pandemic in 2020, I was interviewing subject matter experts almost daily to bring fitness professionals as much information as possible. Everybody was in shutdown mode and looking desperately for inspiration. And I was doing that on a regular basis, and it was so popular, I decided to bring it back. So right now we're in the middle of a 5-week webinar series called Behind the Screen Tips for Teaching Virtual Fitness. And we are very, very excited to be welcoming Keli Roberts. Welcome, everybody who's coming in. I guess I should have waited a few minutes. Welcome, welcome. Today is the third of our 5-week series of Behind the Screen Tips for Teaching Virtual Fitness. And I want to introduce Keli, but before we do, I want to just let you know that Rhonda's here to moderate. If you have any questions
Mhm.
during the interview, please put them in the chat. We'll answer them during or after. And then at the very end, if we have some time, we'll take some live questions as well. Keli has been recognized for many prestigious awards in the fitness industry. In 2003, she was named the IDEA International Fitness Instructor of the Year. 2007, now I didn't know this, she was inducted into the National Fitness Hall of Fame, which is amazing. There's only a few people who've been, I think it's once a year. 2021, she received a Lifetime Achievement NOXI Award for Equinox. She is an ACSM EP and holds certifications through FAI, NASM, CES, and ACE as a group fitness instructor, health coach, CPT, and senior fitness specialist. But she, in my opinion, left a few things out of her bio. So I'm going to add in that was a model and actress moving here when she first moved here from Australia. And then she became known for teaching the Hollywood elite, including Nicole Kidman, Jennifer Grey, Faye Dunaway, and Cher. And I'd love to talk to you more about that, Keli. But anyway, welcome, Keli Roberts.
Thank you, Denise.
Welcome.
It's really great to be here.
I am so glad to have you here. And I haven't seen you in person in a long time. So we'll have to maybe see each other at IDEA probably over
Yes.
the summer. Okay, great, great, great. Well, Keli, let's start out with that. Tell us about how did you teach Cher? I want to know about that. And how old was she? And how old were you? And what was going on? How'd that happen?
I celebrated her 46th birthday. I was on tour with her on her 46th birthday. So I was pretty young and she was a lot younger than she is now, that's for sure. But that was, in 1991. So it was quite a few years ago. I was teaching at Voight Fitness and Dance in West Hollywood, which was a mecca for
Yeah.
celebrities to come and work out at a studio. And the producer of Cher's video was taking my abs, buns, and thighs class.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And she loved me. And so I was invited to audition for Cher's video, which was to be dance with Dory Sanchez, who was her choreographer for her show, legs with me. Karen Anders was doing upper body with elastics, with bands.
Hmm.
And then Anita Morales was doing core. And when I met with her, she was wearing a bathrobe and a shower cap, and she had bare feet, and she had her feet on the table. And she said, "Well, what would you do?" And I had done all of the workshops for teaching step, but I hadn't taught it yet.
Oh,
And
gosh.
I said, "Oh, I think you should do some step. I think step would be great for you because it's low impact and it burns lots of calories and it really gets you in shape and it's
Mhm.
really effective." And she was like, "Oh, okay." So I got the job to do legs, but
Wow.
I kind of had this blind attitude that I was training her. So I used to do step
Yeah.
for 30 minutes and then
Mm,
legs to rehearse the video. And then we'd do core at the end because why not? You'd
right.
want to
Yeah.
do core. Well, after I'd done this for a couple of weeks, she decided that she wanted to do a step video with me. So
Wow.
she invited me. She told me she wanted to do a step video with me, and I said, no, 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 no. My friend Joey Luna would be much better than me. You should
Oh my
get Joey
God.
Luna to do the step, and I'll do the legs. Because at that stage,
So what happened? But you did it, right?
she talked me into it.
So wait, was she in the front and you were in the back, or she was in the
We were
front?
side by side.
Side by side, okay.
Yeah,
And
it's
you,
on YouTube. A lot of people still
okay.
use that
Really?
video.
I'll have to take a
Yeah,
look at that. That's
yeah.
amazing. What a great experience that must have been. I mean, how
Well, it
fun.
was my first video, and we filmed it on film, not video, because she doesn't like how she looks on video.
Oh,
So it was filmed on
wow.
8 millimeter film, so it wasn't digital.
Oh, that's
Oh, wow.
amazing.
A minute. It wasn't digital. So that meant that, and she also didn't want to sweat, and she was wearing one of these enormous wigs, and you lose 80% of your heat out of your head. So and
Oh
she
my God.
sweats like you won't believe. She's a sweater. She's one of those people who
Wow.
really,
Yeah. Yeah.
sweats. And
That's
she's
so
got this
awesome.
wig on, and she didn't want to film longer than 3 minutes at a time because she didn't want to sweat. So
Wow.
we had to film 3 minutes and then stop.
Oh
And then
my
I had to go
gosh.
back 16 counts
Oh boy.
and then film another 3 minutes and go back 16 counts, go 3 minutes for step.
Wow. That must have
And
been
it
freaking three
wasn't,
minutes. That's not even a song, really.
no, it's not even a song.
Not even a song.
And it's
Wow.
not, and it wasn't digital. So it was really, really technical. I was,
Wow.
Oh my.
I was in the toilet on my knees praying because it was so stressful.
I bet. I
I was
bet.
just like, God, please God,
Please
get
God,
me
let me get
there.
through this. Let me get
Just
through
give
this.
me the
So,
inspiration.
if anybody has experience with video or film, it's you. I mean, you are very experienced before it was even digital. Oh my God. Wow. What a story. That's great.
Yeah.
That's so great. So, you remained friends, or was it purely
Well,
just
I
a,
became her trainer, and I trained her for a couple of years after that and toured with her, and then
wow.
she decided that she was just like clearing house, and she fired everyone, and I was one of the people she
Huh.
fired.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
she's always been in good shape. I mean, she's
Oh yeah.
definitely been, she's well, she's naturally thin, I think. I don't know. Seems like it.
I don't.
No?
Well, she wasn't when I was training her.
Oh,
She had been. I'm reading her book at the moment. I'm reading her biography,
oh, neat. Oh,
autobiography.
neat.
It's
Very
really
cool.
good.
Great story, Kelly. What else?
Yeah.
Tell me again how you got started in fitness. I mean, you came from Australia. How did you come to the US? Did you come here for fitness or for
Yeah.
something else?
No,
Oh,
I
you
came here
did.
for fitness. I got started in Australia. I got certified in 1986. I
Okay.
I had been modeling and acting, and I was really fed up. I got fired for being too big, and I was a size 4.
Oh my
And I was
God.
like,
Oh
if
gosh.
this is how women are being represented, then I don't want to do, and I never want to do this again.
Yeah.
So I quit. I walked into my agent and said, look, I would rather clean toilets than be a model. I cannot do
Yeah.
it.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
I
modeling is tough.
I was just fed up. I was just fed up. I
Okay.
couldn't do it anymore. So I had just done a really big swimsuit TV commercial for
Hmm.
Ombre Soleil, which was a tanning lotion. And
Okay.
I was windsurfing and, lying on the windsurfer and stuff like that. Anyway,
Oh, okay.
um, I I had some money in the bank, so I was just going to the gym, taking aerobics classes from my favorite instructor, Rick, and this girl, Tracy, who I loved.
Okay.
And Tracy said, "Oh, you should become an instructor. You'd be a great
Wow.
instructor. There's this course you can take called ACHPA, as the Australian Council for Health, Education, and Recreation.
All right.
And it was a 2-week course with a 3-hour written exam and 40 hours of face-to-face supervised work to become registered. And I did all of that. And then I was
Wow.
rehearsing in my living room for about 2 months. And
That's so great. Now, were you doing that? Because when I first started, I didn't wear shoes. Were you
no,
barefoot? No
I was
shoes, right?
barefoot. Yeah,
That's right.
I bought some, we had just started wearing shoes.
That's right. The
I had my
Reeboks first
first
came out. Yeah,
Reeboks, yeah, but
those
my
high
first
tops.
aerobics class, yeah, those Reeboks.
Yeah.
I got a
Everybody
pair of
had
those
them.
Reeboks.
Yep.
This is 1986.
Yeah. Wow.
And
Wow.
in
Great
the winter
story.
of 1986, so it was in middle of the year in Australia in
Okay.
1986.
And then how did you come over here then? Just because you
Well,
knew California had the opportunity
I
or
wanted to do the IDEA Foundation certification, which then became ACE.
ACE? That's right. I remember that.
Before it was ACE. I had gotten my hands on the manual and I wanted to be, and I wanted to teach continuing education.
Wow.
Because back in those days,
Yeah,
in the early 80s, people weren't certified. They
that's
were
right.
just pulled up from the front row of the class when the instructor didn't show up, and they would just
That's
put on
right. That's right.
the
Yeah, yeah.
set and they would just kick.
They weren't trained at all. They just threw people in. You're right. So
Yeah.
you love that, and that's actually what you're still doing today. That's your passion, right? Continuing education.
Yeah.
I've heard wonderful things about you. Well, that's a great story. That's awesome. So you came and did idea. Well, let's jump into virtual then, shall we? Tell me about, what virtual classes, what types of virtual classes you're teaching now. Are they live stream or on demand? And then we can go into, I want to talk about queuing. You said you wanted to talk about queuing, communication, and some equipment. So first, tell me what you're doing.
Well, I'm seeing clients on Zoom, so I'm a virtual personal trainer.
Okay.
And so I see them on Zoom and I record the session and then I send them the link and they do it on their own as well as see me. And they've got
I see.
now a big selection of classes because I've been doing it for a while.
Okay.
And then and the nice thing is like I've got a group of sisters. There's 3 sisters and they're all in different cities in different time zones and we get together on a Thursday afternoon and they
Oh,
get to see each
nice.
other. So it's really neat.
That is neat. Yeah.
Yeah. And I've got clients in New York, and I've got clients in other parts of LA that aren't so close to me. So I enjoy doing that.
And you do that live, right? You
I do
do all
that
of that
live.
live. Okay.
Yeah. Live and then, recorded.
Record it and then, okay.
So
Great.
that's live and recorded. And then
All
I'm
right.
also filming for American Specialty Health, ASH, on
Yep.
demand. And that's in the studio with Linda Shelton directing me.
That's right.
And yeah, and that is with 3 cameras and a teleprompter and a big studio and makeup artists and
That's a
hairdressers
big
and
deal. Yeah.
wardrobe and
Yeah.
the whole bit. And then I also film for them from this room, my little studio,
All
and
right.
that's they use that on Facebook Live and on their
But
website.
but you're not live when you do it, right? You pre-record it. Okay, and then that's where we could talk about equipment and queuing and so forth. All right, very good. Well, why don't we jump into that? If you can, so for the purpose of instructors that are watching, what kinds of tips can you give with regards to how you want to talk about that part mostly first, how you record your own and how what equipment you use and so
Okay.
forth.
Well, when I'm filming on Facebook, I have a really nice webcam
All right.
that is it's a 4K, so it's called a Zoom Handy Video Recorder
All
with
right.
Q2N, and it is phenomenal. It's got a nice wide lens,
Oh,
so
nice.
it makes your space look much bigger than it is.
Good. Oh, that's
And
great.
yeah, so I use that for my Zoom classes. For my
Okay.
on demand, the filming, I use a Hang on, I got to get all my dongles lined
So
up
you record
with a phone.
with your phone. So
Yeah,
you have an extra phone, or that's, I guess
I
that
have
is your
two
phone.
phones. Yeah, this is
You have
my
two
filming
phones.
phone. This is my
Okay.
filming phone,
That's your
and I
filming
have a
phone.
splitter. This is a
Oh,
splitter
all
that
right.
separates my sound from my music from my audio,
Your music for your audio. So maybe we
my
can get
microphone.
links to this or the names of them to get Rhonda. You can share
Yeah.
them on Facebook later.
Okay.
Okay.
And
So
then
you
that
use
has
the
a
phone.
microphone.
How do you put the phone up to, you have a
I've got a,
stand,
I've got a, I've got a,
like a stand or something?
I've got a,
Oh, let's
there it
see.
is. Yeah.
Oh,
My
wow. Beautiful.
earphone film kit, my
Wow.
speaker and my mixer. So
Okay.
it's all, you can't see any of it when I'm filming because it's behind the camera. But I have a little microphone that I tuck down my top on and attach to my
Oh.
bra,
Oh,
and
so
that
you just put that
connects.
down your shirt.
Put it down there, and it is really sensitive. It is a really
Oh,
sensitive
yeah.
microphone.
I
It
know. They
really,
all are. I know.
yeah, yeah, it's very good. And then it has a receiver that I connect through some cable with my splitter to my phone.
Okay. And do
And
you
that,
leave that like that? Do you leave that like that all the time, or do you have to disconnect it
pack it
for?
up. I
Okay.
pack it up because to charge the phone, you need the same,
Oh, right. The same. Gotcha.
yeah, the
So the
same.
charging place is the same, the
Yeah,
port.
yeah,
Okay, got it.
yeah.
All right.
And then
Okay.
for the music, I have to use my other phone. That's my regular phone. And you need
Oh,
another dongle for that because it has,
right.
you know,
Play music from
Apple.
it. Right, right.
Apple. When I'm filming on Zoom, I just use my earpods. I
Oh,
think
and that
the
works great for you.
sound is great.
Wow.
And
Okay.
it's not as breathy when I'm filming cycling. I found
Mm,
with I've got also like a headset mic. My
yeah.
headset mic, you could hear every breath I took. So it was like Darth Vader. It was just terrible. So this is much less breathy.
Wow, that's
Um,
great.
and
Yeah.
you can be way away from the computer and it sounds really good. Really good.
Well, I have to say, right now the sound sounds good. This is just your
It does.
computer
That's
audio.
my computer audio.
Sounds
Yeah, it's
great
a good
right now.
computer.
But I'm sure if you went away further or got
If
on
I
the
went
floor,
further
we
away.
couldn't,
Yeah.
yeah, we couldn't hear you anymore. All
Yeah.
right, so that's great. If we can get a list of those items and we could share them with everybody, that'd be great.
Yeah, this is a Rode mic. Rode makes very nice
Rode is
ROD.
great. Yes.
Rode makes very nice mics.
And I think they're Australian, aren't they?
I don't know.
I believe they are because
You
we
can
tried to
get this
contact
Rode
them.
mic on I've seen it on Amazon.
Amazon.
Yeah.
Yep, those are great. Okay. Um, and talk
Who is
about
it?
your
It's also from
lighting.
Rode. Oh,
Okay. Yeah.
I have a lot of lighting in this room and I have blackout curtains because I've got a lot of natural light that comes through here. And
All right.
on Zoom sets its camera to the lightest thing. And so
Oh.
if you've got a light background, like a light coming in through a window, it will set its aperture to the window light and you will be backlit.
You were telling us earlier
Yeah.
before we came on about how you were a silhouette when you,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
horrible. That's a
yeah, it was
nightmare.
terrible. It was a nightmare. The first time I taught in this room, I was completely a silhouette. I was black.
So
Couldn't
that
see.
doesn't make sense because if you need a lot of light, I don't know why you would do that. You need lighting, right?
You have to
To
have
look better.
the light has to be behind the camera, not in front of the camera.
Oh, okay. That's the problem.
So
Okay.
I've got two small ring lights here.
All
I've got
right.
a really big ring light there, which is my
Okay.
front light because I film on an angle. And then
Okay.
in the background, I've got a big umbrella light.
Oh, so you've got a lot. Okay, so lighting is very key because you look amazing right now. Like all the light is nice and even. There's no
Yeah,
shadows.
yeah.
And then you block the natural light, which
Off the
is
natural light
okay. So
completely.
this is the room where you record what
This
you're
is
in
my
right
room.
now.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah,
very good.
yeah,
And you mentioned the monitor. I think you mentioned a monitor for the sound, and that is for you to hear the music, correct? Or is that this? Yeah,
yeah,
okay. Because
yeah.
the other music goes through with the dongle. Whew,
Yeah.
you've got to go back to school to figure this stuff out. There's a lot. There's a lot. If
Yeah.
anybody has any questions, please put them in the chat, by the way, and Rhonda will ask us the questions. This is great. Great, Kelly. So, Kelly, tell us about the experience that you have. Like, because I have never seen you when you do your videos for Silver and Fit or any videos that you do. Talk to us about queuing. Talk to us about do you always look at the center dot when you're talking to people? Like right now, I'm talking to you and it looks like you're speaking right to me. So you must be doing something right. Because my eyes are all over the place, I think. Um, Tell us about queuing and your presentation and any tips that you can share with people. That would be helpful.
Sure. When I'm teaching in a big studio, when I've got the teleprompter and all the cameras and the big lights and the hair and the makeup, and I get nervous. I
I
get
bet.
I
I
get very
bet.
nervous.
Yeah,
Standing
stage
still
fright.
and yeah, I get stage fright. My heart rate gets really high. I
Oh
start to get
yeah.
breathless.
Wow.
And usually that first read on the teleprompter I get wrong. I usually have to do it a couple of times.
Yeah, that would make me nervous too. I
It just
can't
makes
believe
me
you
nervous.
get nervous and you've been doing this so long.
Yeah. Years. I've been doing it over 30 years.
Decades. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But it still makes me nervous. So I personalize the camera as my favorite person. So I'm talking to Rose, or I'm talking
Okay.
to Marjorie, Marjorie, my client, or Rose, who always took my class, who I loved having in the room. And so I just make the camera that person, and that takes away the nervousness and I think warms me
Mm,
up to the camera.
right. That's great. So you have that experience, I guess, if you were an actress for a while, how to pretend to be somebody else or not to pretend, or to pretend that you're talking to Rose, like you said. So that's really a talent to be able to do that.
I think it warms you up to the camera a lot, and I think it personalizes the way you communicate to the camera so that you're not wooden and speaking like
Yeah.
this. Like it becomes
Yeah.
warm and natural and
And
just warm
it's
and natural.
And it's so different than teaching face to when you see your participant, there's something different, right? There's an energy exchange. There's something different about that. It takes a real talent to be able to nail that. So talk to us about cueing. I know we were talking about it before we came on, but maybe you can share with others what are some of your cueing techniques and some of the experience that you shared earlier about Italy and that kind of stuff.
Well, I think my first time realizing that video or virtual was different than teaching a class where people could just easily look at you was when I was doing Cher's video and we were on the floor for the stretch and we were all lying on our backs and we were doing a figure
Right.
four stretch and no one could follow me because I was just like, and cross your ankle over your knee and pick your leg
Right.
up. And they were like, which leg, which ankle, like, how do I do, like, they couldn't follow me. And
Yeah.
then I was like, okay, I get it. I have to
Break
every
it.
single thing that I'm doing, I have to say.
Wow.
And that was really clear to me when I was in Italy doing a reality show several years ago. The First of all, it was in I speak Italian, but it was in my second. So
Oh, I didn't know you did. So do I. But keep
oh,
going.
parli
Yeah.
italiano allora.
Sì, sì, parla. That's great.
But I had to do it all in my second language,
Oh boy, that's so
and
rough.
yeah, it was you have to well I'm fluent so I think in Italian. I'm not thinking in
Nice.
English and then translating it so it's fast, it's instantaneous, but it still makes it another layer of
Yeah.
challenge.
But you had to break I mean, it's hard enough to think about, like you were saying earlier, we are so used to, as an instructor, say inhale, exhale, without saying it, arms up, inhale, exhale. So
Yeah,
having to do that in a different language is even more challenging. But
yeah.
how much do you think you have to do that that's different with virtual?
I think you have to
That,
completely do it.
Yeah, a lot more.
So if I'm teaching and I'll say, inhale, reaching your hands overhead, exhale, pull your left elbow down, reaching up on the right.
There's a lot of
Inhale as
talking.
you reach up on the left, pull down the right elbow as you reach up on the left.
Wow. Yeah, that's
Inhale,
great.
reach both hands up. Exhale, bring your hands down.
That's a
So I
lot.
would say all of that.
Wow. Yeah, that's a lot to say. There's a lot of talking during.
It's a lot of talking.
Yeah.
You can't assume, you might have someone who's vision impaired. You
Hmm.
might, because that was the case in Italy. I had someone who had macular degeneration who liked to
Hmm.
take step.
Wow.
So I was teaching step in Italian to someone who was blind. It made me very good at Italian, and it also made me very good at cueing because you can't
Mhm.
make any assumptions. Because
No,
if
not
you're
at
not
all.
saying everything that you're doing, they don't do anything that you're not saying.
It's true. It's true. And I think that's really the difference between a good instructor on virtual and a great instructor, saying every single thing. I mean, I actually like it in person too. But on virtual, it's extremely important, you
Mhm.
know. So that is good. Now, what about right and left? Are you mirroring? Are
I'm
you
mirror.
saying right and left? Are you saying this arm, that arm? Or
When
what
I
are you?
lie side on, if I'm side on and I'm lying on the floor, I'll use
Okay.
my actual right and left.
Okay.
When I'm standing
Mhm.
facing you or standing in or kneeling, I'll use I'll mirror.
You will mirror.
Mhm.
Oh,
I
I see what you're
mirror
saying.
except when I'm lying down. If I'm
Okay.
lying down, I don't mirror.
Okay.
My
Okay.
actual.
All right. And your brain is already used to doing that because you face class when you teach in person, I would
Mhm.
assume. So you're
Yeah,
used to doing
always.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Always. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm awful with my right and left. I'm really dyslexic. So that is a constant challenge for me.
Constant challenge. I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah, not
I
good.
know. But that's great. So okay, so cueing, mirroring, um, what else? Lighting, we talked about that. What else do you think? What other tips? Anything else you can think about?
I just think that your cueing has to be really good. It's not just saying things repetitively and counting. Counting is not cueing. That's not
I
that people
agree.
can count. They don't need to learn how to count.
That's
I've
so
been doing that a
true.
long time.
Wow, that's
So
such a great tip because that is what instructors do. You're
yeah.
used to saying four more, three more, two more,
No.
but it's almost not
Mhm.
necessary.
It's
Yeah,
not necessary. You can say four more, or you've got 10 more seconds. Now keep your breath moving, keep
hmm.
exhaling as you press,
That's
inhaling
right.
as you lower. Last one. Put the dumbbell down, roll onto your side, pick up your
Yeah,
lighter dumbbell, roll back onto your back, bring the dumbbell up. Like you don't
yeah,
need to like counting can be motivating. It can be a motivator. Okay, you've just got
a little bit.
four.
Yeah,
But
just
then
because if you,
when you've
yeah,
said that, then go on to cueing how they need to do it.
right.
Like the how is way more important than the how much.
Oh, how did you learn that? How did you learn how to cue? Did you just, have you spent time like breaking down, like choreographing and then saying, okay, now how am I going to cue that? Or at this point, does it just come natural to you?
To me, it comes pretty natural. I mean, I film with Linda Shelton, and Linda's a real
Oh,
stick when
yeah.
it comes to
Oh, yeah.
cueing. And
Yep, she sure
so you'll
is.
still
Yeah.
catch me. Take it up. Take what up where?
Yeah, take it
Lift
up.
your
Yeah.
leg up, holding it, lift your right leg up,
Oh,
holding
right.
it
Mhm.
behind your hamstring. That's the back of your thigh.
Hmm.
Now, keeping your knee bent, draw the leg towards your chest.
I really like that you said that hamstring, that's the back of your thigh, because not everybody knows what a hamstring is, right? We take all this stuff for granted.
You can't take it for granted. A lot of the filming I do is for active aging, and so you can't assume anything.
No, yeah. I do notice that where people have gotten more educated and more advanced, it kind of works against you because I know sometimes if I take a yoga class and they mention a body part, I'm like, what are they talking about? Where is that? I like that. I like what you just said, being able to explain it.
Yeah,
This
if
is
I use
really
an
great.
anatomical term, I always use the where it is on your
Mm,
body term as well. So
where
they
it is.
learn what the anatomical term is, and then they know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So important. I love that. I love that. You're the first person I've heard say that. And I think that's really, really important. That's what makes you a great instructor.
Well, if you say flex your ankle, you have to say pull your toes towards your shin,
Yeah,
because flexing the ankle could be that or that,
that's
right?
true. That's true. Flexing up. Wow. I wonder if so you it's come natural to you now, but I probably, like you said, learning from Linda Shelton, but also so you don't sit and plan the choreography and then plan how am I going to cue it. At this point, you've just got it.
No, and I'm really awful at counting reps. I use an app. So I use an app because I
Okay.
can't, I use a timer.
Oh, a timer. Okay, so you don't want
Yeah.
to count reps at all. You just
I
go
don't
off the
want to count
time.
reps. I go by time. I mean, occasionally I count reps, but this is it's called Tabata
Okay.
Pro.
Okay. It's about a
And
pro.
yeah, and it is,
So in other words, you mostly go by the time as opposed to, 8 counts of music or anything like that. You go off the time.
yeah,
Like an athlete would, more
yeah, I
intervals.
do. I
I
do.
see.
Yeah,
Okay.
I do a lot of unilateral training. So if I'm training, I mean, like the unilateral training is wonderful. It's a great way to address strength imbalances, right and left,
Absolutely.
balances out
Absolutely.
your body a whole lot. It allows you to focus. You don't need as much weight. So people at home might not have enough, like really heavy
Mm,
dumbbells to overload
right.
their legs. But if
Oh,
you
I
do
see.
one leg at a time, you don't need as much load,
Oh, that's interesting. You
right?
know, you always find your weaknesses during unilateral, of course.
That's right. You
But
find out your weaknesses. You get to know if you've got a strength imbalance, and you can balance it by training unilaterally. But you want to
okay.
get the reps even. And I'm
Oh, I
not good
see.
at counting reps. Because I'm talking about how to do it and where to
Mm-hmm.
feel it
Mm.
and how to
So you
position
lose track of
the
the
shoulders.
numbers.
And
Gotcha.
so
So you just make sure the timer tells you, okay, we're done with that side. Now we can move over to. That's a great tip. I love that.
yeah,
That's excellent. I love
it,
that.
it simplifies and amplifies my teaching too,
Mm-hmm.
because then I can really coach. Because
Yeah.
teaching is not just saying how many reps, it's not just saying lift, 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 lift.
Yeah,
It's
over and over again.
take it up, take
Right.
what up where. It's
Take what up? Yeah,
the
yeah.
habits instructors
I
get
know.
into with
It's
their
so true.
coaching is just terrible.
How do you think that someone can learn that, Kelly? How do you think that someone can get better at cueing?
I think the best thing you can do is to record yourself teaching and then
Okay.
watch it back.
And watch it back.
Yeah. And it's
But
really,
maybe not watch it back, maybe just listen to it back and see if you can
yeah,
do what you're cueing to yourself. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, watching it too, you can watch your form and your posture and your alignment.
Mm,
I know when I first with that video I did with Cher, I couldn't watch and listen to myself. I was really so critical. I just couldn't do it. So I listened
okay.
to it first.
All
I
right.
listened to it. And
Okay.
then years later I was able to watch it and listen to it. I was far
Wow.
enough removed from it. It is hard to watch yourself because
Yeah,
we're our own worst critic,
of
but
course.
if you can do it with a loving perspective or just a friendly perspective and
Sure.
learn from it, it's a fantastic way to grow as
Yeah.
an instructor.
I
And
love that. That's really great advice. And nowadays it's so easy to record ourselves, with Zoom and whatever. Oh, this has been great. This is really, really great. Anything else you want to share before we close out here?
I just think that recording yourself and then listen to the things you're saying. Like, um, are you saying things like lift it and squeeze it and bring it? Like, it's not saying anything. It's not a valuable cue. People aren't going to learn how to do the movement accurately. And
Mm.
years ago, I did a workshop for IDEA on cueing and coaching, and
Oh,
it was called
wow.
I Cue You Do. the art of intelligent coaching.
IQ, you do. I love that.
Yeah. And I did a lot of research to have some science to it. And I came across some research that someone had done with people on skill development. And it demonstrated very clearly that when you use an internal cue versus an external cue, that people's skill is developed faster and more accurately. So an
What does that mean?
external
Internal versus external.
squeeze is an
Okay,
internal cue.
okay.
An external cue would be drive your hips towards the ceiling as you press your feet into the floor for a bridge.
Mm.
That's an external cue because you're telling someone how to move rather than telling someone purely what, because an internal cue. So saying squeeze your glutes
Okay, yeah.
doesn't teach you how to do the movement.
That's so interesting. And this is something you learned, you said, during the research, skill
Yeah.
development and
Yeah, and so I started applying those same principles. So in a squat, rather than saying squeeze your glutes, because
yeah,
telling someone to squeeze their glutes when they do a squat makes them do strange things. They end up like tilting their pelvis under, and
right.
the movement becomes really distorted. But if you say to someone, stand tall, squat, sitting your hips back behind your heels. Now drive your heels into the floor as you stand all the way up tall.
Wow.
You'll get like you're coming out of a chair, relating it back to something that is familiar. I mean,
Wow.
it's easy to assume that people know how to squat, but I've coached
Oh no, I still don't
don't.
know. Yeah, no, it's amazing.
Yeah,
It's
complex.
not an easy thing. Squatting is one of those things that you
Yeah,
go like, yeah. Wow, it's so amazing how you really have opened my eyes to this. Like the way the words, the actual cues are makes such a difference.
it
And I
makes a
think that's what makes
difference.
you like a teacher better than another teacher who
I
just
think
says
so.
four more, three more, two more, same
Yeah.
old thing, kind of sing-songy, kind of cheerleading, like, yeah. Wow, that's really
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, I
So,
got inspired by I remember I was waiting to teach a class and I was listening to the instructor before me and it sounded like this. Lift, 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 lift. Like he was saying something different when he changed the tone of his voice. And then he
yeah.
would say, eight, eight more, eight, seven, six,
Oh boy.
five, four, three, two, one. Like he changed the tone of his voice as if he was saying something different. I was like, you're not saying anything that people don't know. People
Interesting.
know
Yeah.
that that is lift. Okay, lift what, where, how? What does it feel like? Where is
Mhm.
my foot positioned? So alignment is really important. Focus, the focal point of where to press from and where to push is really important. The motivating thing of what is the goal of the exercise is important. So these are all things that you can be saying that make you a much more effective and motivating instructor.
Wow, this is amazing. Really, really eye-opening and it's amazing. You just don't think of this stuff. And that poor instructor who was doing that 876, he didn't know any better, no one taught him
No.
that. So unless you're taught, just sharing all that you're sharing right now, it's
He's
amazing.
very open-minded about it too, because I don't know how open-minded he would have been to any
Mm,
feedback about
feedback, I
his
see.
coaching because he had a
Yeah,
room full of people. He had a very sparkly personality and great body,
right.
and he was young and cute, and
Exactly.
So the shiny new toy. I think as you get older, you have to have um, more than that going for you.
Yes. More depth,
Yeah,
and more to it besides just looking at yourself, just, what you look like.
yeah,
But I even think those instructors, the ones with that are young and shiny, like you said, also makes them a better instructor if they cue better and all the things you're saying, especially virtually, because that's what we're talking about mostly.
Yeah,
Virtual is critical. Otherwise, you don't even need the person there to just say 5, 6, 7, 8,
yeah. I was
music will tell you
watching
that.
I was watching a YouTube channel. One of my in-person clients showed me some YouTube. She wanted me to give me her opinion of some YouTube workouts that she was doing, and the
Mhm.
instructor literally didn't talk. She'd say, "This exercise is for your chest.
And
It's
that's
chest
it.
press. Choose some nice heavy dumbbells." And then she'd lie down on the floor and just do a set of chest presses
Nice
without
heavy dump.
saying a word, not one word. I was like, wow, okay, well, that's interesting. Um,
Yeah,
wow.
that's so amazing. Wow. Really, really great. I love all this. All of the stuff that you've said has just been amazing. This is so enlightening. I mean, it's great. Kelly, you are an amazing instructor. What are you doing now mostly? You're teaching for American Specialty Health. You're about to launch an on-demand channel, which you'll share with us when it's ready, and we can share with the instructors here.
Yeah.
What else are
I'll
you
be
doing? I
using
know
your
you're tra
music.
What's that? You'll be
I'll be
using our
using your
music. That's
music.
right. That's right.
Yeah.
And what you're traveling around still and that
Yeah,
kind of
I'm
thing.
still doing the odd convention. I've got SCW Atlanta and SCW Dallas coming up, and an
Great.
Ideal World, and I did ACSM
Okay.
Idea Personal Trainer at earlier this year. Um,
And what do you teach mostly when you're there? What kinds of classes are you teaching?
yeah, mostly strength and conditioning.
Okay.
I do so much coaching for older folks that that's definitely one of the things that I present on because I have a lot of experience
Oh,
with that,
great.
a lot of experience and also a lot of knowledge. I made sure I got right up to speed with how to coach older folks because they definitely have a different set of needs than
Yeah,
teaching someone younger.
of course. Of course. Well, that's amazing. You are so talented. Your education level is just above average. I mean, you're just amazing. And having you here was just really an honor. I really, really, you were one of the first people. Remember, I was playing around with interviewing. It's
Yeah.
like, Kelly, can I interview you? I'm just testing something. And we just did a live. That was really fun. But we've come a long way since then. And thank you so much. Let's really quickly open it up to just if you have just a few more
Yeah,
minutes. We have about 5 or 10 minutes. If we can open it up, I don't know how to, let me see if I can know how to unmute. If anybody has a question, I can unmute you. Does anybody have any
sure.
questions for Kelly before we let her go? No, guess not. Okay. Well,
I
thank you
see
again.
some people I know
Anybody?
here, Lena.
Oh, you do? You know them? Oh,
Yeah, and Ross.
great.
Hi,
And
Kelly. It's so nice to
Yay.
see you.
nice to see you too.
That's
Kelly
awesome.
assisted me with my crunch bikini body workout video, the first
Did
video that I
she?
ever did.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah,
amazing. Yeah.
That's
talking about
great.
doing it
Awesome. Awesome.
wrong.
Well, thanks for being here. I know your name, Lena. I know that name. I've
Yeah,
seen it around a couple times.
yeah.
Anybody else? Ross, hello?
Ross.
Hi, Ro-
Do you know each other? I guess you know each other.
Yeah,
Yes, kind
absolutely.
of just listening in the background as I'm doing some work. So it's good seeing you, Kelly.
Great seeing you too,
Great
Ross.
tips as always.
Yes.
She's amazing. Yeah, for sure. Well, this was great. Any parting words, Kelly, before we sign off?
When you do watch yourself, when you're watching your cueing, be gentle, be kind to yourself because it can be very easy to be very self-critical and it takes time to develop good cueing habits. But regularly watching yourself is a great way to continue to grow.
I love that. I've never done it,
Really
but
is.
I'm sure that's a really great, great advice. This is great. Thank you, everybody. Thank you again, Kelly, so much for being here. And I will see you in a couple months at IDEA. And
Yes.
thank you, Rhonda, for helping us moderate. This will be posted on
Welcome.
Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, everywhere. We'll be sharing this everywhere. Thank you so much. Really, really great to have you. Take care,
Thanks, Nancy.
everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Kelly. Thanks, Denise. Awesome.